A veteran for decades, Joel Kabika, thank you for taking time to speak to us.
Thank you very much, Zite. It's a
Many
privilege.
decades,
Yeah.
starting from the 70s. How did it all start?
Oh, you know, when you have a passion for something, Zite, you know, it all started in the 70s, late 70s, I think 78, 79. I was one time a civil servant. By that time, I was just coming from school. I was employed in Works and Supply as a clerical officer. I was posted just opposite the government printer. There was a place which was called the Provincial Buildings Engineer. So what happened that is during that time, we formed a team which was called Works Rangers. Because, you know, it was under Works Department. And by that time, we had teams all over the provinces where we had our offices, and we also formed one. And I started as the secretary of that club. From there, we affiliated ourselves into Lusaka Urban District Football League. By that time, we had in Lusaka province, we had two leagues. There was the Lusaka Rural and Lusaka Urban. In the Lusaka Urban, we had 6 divisions, which has 16 teams running altogether. So you can imagine 16 by 6. And if you want to go to provincial, you have to be the champions. From Division 6, win championship every year to go to the provincial. The provincial was called the Midlands Football Association. So Midlands Football Association, that was the provincial league. They had 2 divisions, Division 1 and Super Division. When you win the Super Division, that's when you are promoted to go to FAS.
Tell me about Works Rangers in terms of how it survived during your time when you formed it. How was the team surviving and how was it sponsored?
You know, the sponsorship, as usual, in government, you know, you don't have the facilities, especially when it comes to money, sponsorship, and so on. It was sponsored by the workers. Because of the passion we had for football, we workers were able to donate. And lucky enough, because the department had even tellers, we had so many people from home, we had carpenters and so on. So we could even make our own uniforms, you know, within our premises and so on.
You mean the jerseys?
Yes, we could do that. We could do that. So that's how it survived. We had a very good players by that time. So we went from that Division 6 up to Division 1. We were promoted to go to Midlands. We went up to Super Division. When you go to those days, when you go to Independence Stadium, there was a ground outside there, outside Independence Stadium as you are coming in from the eastern side. That's where we are playing. If you go to Katungu, Livala, that ground which was there was made by Works Department. It was us who made those grounds which were there. Because each time when we were being promoted, they were conditioned, each league, that you can't play here, you better play there. So that's when we started playing Katungu. From Katungu, now we're given a condition by Midland that you cannot play here because we can't fence it. Now they wanted to play in a ground where it's fenced. So we have to go to Independence Stadium where we had fenced.
But how come you didn't enjoy some support whilst the Bank of Zambia were forming teams and many parastatals and many government departments? Why was yours the odd one out, so to speak?
No, we can't say that because the government actually by that time, they were able to sponsor in a way. Although we could not be sponsored like companies, they were giving us transport. We were able to travel anywhere where we could travel. They can give us, you know, transport, fuel, and so on. That's where they can help. Because finances, it's very difficult because there was no, they cannot give you the finances because there was no allocation for that. Yeah.
You later on served as secretary and deputy as the general secretary.
Yeah, of course. When I was at Lusakaban, I joined the executive of Lusakaban Football Association. There I started as a registrar. I rose ranks up to the general secretary. Then what happened that is when my team went to Midland Football Association, I also joined the Midland Football Association. I started as a registrar and I went up to the general secretary in the Midland Football Association. Now, you want to know that actually what happened that is when these West Rangers were promoted to go to First Division 3, now because of the sponsorship, now the demand was every time going to be high. It was high, so that's when we met Hanif Adams. Hanif Adams had also a team which was called the IYO Dynamos, which was like a social team and so on. So he came to me that can we merge or can we take the sponsorship? Now what we did that is we merged and he took up the sponsorship. The name was changed to Lusaka Dynamos. Now it was an agreement between me and Hanif Adams that I should take charge of the administration. So automatically I became the secretary of the club. So we took over sponsorship, he took over some other areas, but administration, that was my job. So I had two positions. In the Midlands, I was the general secretary. Lusaka Dynamos, from that time, I was the secretary of Lusaka Dynamos. From Division 3, we played Division 2, Division 1. We even played Super Division. It's a span of almost 27 years where I was serving at Lusaka Dynamos. At some time, I was serving at Lusaka Midlands Football Association. At Lusaka Urban Football Association, I was even given life membership because of the time, the service which I did to the league. When I came to Midlands Football Association, we have to work hard so that we see that all the province is up to date. So that's what happened. The Lusaka Dynamos were formed. Now, we worked as a team at Lusaka Dynamos. A young man joined me, like Patrick Kangwa. He became our chairman. So we started working. It was hard work, though you know that it was sponsored by Hanif. Hanif sometimes, because of passion he had, a lot of people are saying, no, he had a lot of money. It's the passion which he had. Even if when he had little money that time, that small money would be spent to football.
Tell me how you survived. You make it sound like you actually really survived.
Yes.
But this was an individual dipping from his own pocket.
Yes.
What were some of the challenges stemming from being sponsored by an individual?
There were a lot of challenges because we were not up to the standard where our friends who were sponsored. You find that you start the league, your friends would have maybe 2 million or 3 million in the bank. You are starting the league with nothing. You start the league with nothing. So you are depending on Hanif to look for money there and there. Even for registration, it was very difficult. But we were able to do that. Sometimes I will let you know that even the issue of loaning the players, it's me who started and Hanif. In Zambia, there was no loaning of players. But when we found that we had players, very good players, so the big teams would come to us and give them the players, give us money, and run the team.
That's how you survive?
That's most of the time, that's how we survive.
So it was looking for money every week, every time there's a game, especially traveling away?
Yes, but not every time, because his business sometimes, and if we could collect some money over the weekend and so on, he could make a bit of money and so on. It's not every week, but we depended too much on one person who was there. But we were able to travel. We had no any time that we failed to travel to any league game.
Did Hanif at any point in your over 27 years at Lusaka Dynamos, feel like almost giving up, that the football thing was a big tour? Was it making business sense to sponsor football for him from where you start?
By that time, Zite, it was very, very difficult. It was not making any business sense, because we were not able to, to sell and maybe recover what we have spent. It was very, very difficult. Although we were able to send some of the players overseas and so on, but that was, you cannot depend on that. Maybe in a year you may sell one player and you bring a bit of income, but that income we cannot rely on it, that it can take you up to the season ends. Most of the money was coming from Hanif Adams, and at one time he never even thought of giving up. He had passion for football. He had passion for football.
But didn't it strike you as a human being and say, okay, this man, why, how? And in reverse, why do you think he wanted to partner with you in the 70s?
No, you see, what happened that is, in administration, we have a lot of people. It's a matter of seeing who you can work with. Even use it to choose a friend. You should know what kind of friend you want. And people would see from your friends, it's a mirror, how you want yourself to be. So what happened that is, when we sat down, we worked very, very well. Because sometimes I was making decisions. I was in charge, even when it comes to transfers. I was the one who was negotiating, bring the money. I can go and negotiate on my own. When there is cases, whatever, fires, whatever, that was my job. And the trust which he had in me, he had trust in me actually, that I could do everything. As a result, we worked very, very well.
What was the benefit for you?
There was no benefit, because I wasn't on allowance. There was no benefit. But he became a friend. He became a friend. The benefit I was getting is passion. I had passion for football. So long I'm seeing what I've planted grow, become big players, playing in the national team and so on. That's what I was thinking that now I've done.
Probably not everybody in your life agreed with you.
Yes, a lot.
What did it cost you, football?
It cost me a lot, because you can imagine, even at my workplace, most of the people are saying, "No, this guy is football," or what they were thinking that is this guy, what he can do better is football. Although I was a professional accountant, but most of them, they were overlooking me because of the passion I had for football. You see that? So what happened that is, yes, but at the end of the day, I gained a lot through football, because the friends which I have in football. Today, Zito, you can take me to Senanga, you can take me to Rundaza and so on. People will be able to recognize me.
Tell me about the way the leagues were structured, 70s, and what is the justification? Because you're a veteran of football for over 40 years. So why did we have the structures that we had? And did it actually help us tap talent, in your view?
Zita, the change regime, sometimes they do bring a lot of changes, and I don't know whether sometimes it brings, we have to benefit from there and so on. But people who are seeing what is happening, that people can judge whether we are in the right track or not. In the 80s, 70s, 80s, we had the Super Division, which was called Division 1. We had the National League, which was the Division 1 now, which was run at national level, from Livingstone up to Copper Belt, Division 1. Then the province, they were in charge of all the provincial amateur football association. They had their own leagues running there. They had their own leagues, but the problem which was there, that is, people started complaining that FAS is run along the line of the rail. Even picking players for national team, people were complaining that no. The people from the villages, people from the provincial centers and so on, players are not given chance to play in the football, in the national team.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So would you actually say that in the 70s and 80s, our talent tapping systems did not really go anywhere that was not the line of rail? All the talent that we saw play for the national team, would it be possible for a villager to come and play football in town and find himself at the national team looking at the way the football systems were structured?
Yes, it's no and yes. What happened that the people who were benefiting those days, we had big teams like Buffaloes, Nkana, and other big teams who were able to go in the rural areas, tap the talent, bring those players in their team, groom them. Those are the players who were playing the national team. Like Buffaloes, they had their base, especially in Northwestern Province, where they were going. Mufulira Wanderers, they were going into Wapula, where they were getting players. You see, but now, the teams, the players, he has to be brought and be groomed, because where they are coming from, there are no leagues. There was no competition that they can compete, and you can pick the player and you will come and compete favorably in any league along the line. So
it's impossible. It's a crazy thought to think I can go into a little village in this country, get a player and expect them to play.
I don't know. To my own understanding, it's very difficult for a player to just bring it straight there and he will feature in the national team or feature in the super division. He needs a bit of time. He may play maybe for 6 months or 1 year before he picks his feet and play in that team. It's very, very difficult. Because I will tell you that environment differs. Environment from where you are picking the player, where he's coming from. It do differ. So first of all, you should adapt to the environment which has come to find in the new team. He has to take time to adapt, and the coaching and so on, it has to take time.
So back to the question of the structures and how they were made. I want to find out from you. 70s, of course, this country enjoyed its biggest economic development. I think we're flourishing at that time. Into the 80s. But as we went past 85, things started becoming a little bit hazy, so to speak. How did football adjust to the economic changes that were happening in the country at the time?
I'll tell you this. First of all, when we had our economy was doing very well, football also was doing very well. I'll tell you that in Lusaka, I've told you that in Lusaka Urban, we had 6 divisions by 16 teams. All of them were well sponsored by these companies. That was the time when this sports complex were being built. Bank of Zambia, they had a team. BP, they had a team. Zamshua, they had a team. All of them, they were compelled to have those complexes. That is what we got from that time. And I'll tell you something that is, that time even the government were able, a team from Lundazi, a primary school team, will come here and go to Nedicos, go and get a pair of jerseys, football, and so on, and the government pays. Nedicos, it was a parastatal. They were getting their supply from Far East at a cheaper. As a result, football or sports in general was being played because they were given sports equipment. Now, tell me one thing that is, after that time, now even your own child who are able to play football, do you know how much it cost the boat? It's almost 800 or almost 1,000 now. What about football? You go to this primary school, do they have the equipment they have? Nothing. So what do? What do you expect?
I want to ask this, your generation, with that goodwill from government, is the best that Bank of Zambia, BP, Zamshu or Zambia State Insurance Corporation and all these parastatals, as a generation, are you proud that perhaps the only and biggest thing that we ever did with that big wheel is build those sports complexes and not stadiums? Why wasn't there a push to actually use that goodwill from government to actually build stadiums instead of those small sports complexes?
Yes, they look small, but those days, to us, that was a plus because we didn't have anything like that. And for us, it was a plus. Anyway, you know that building a stadium is very, very expensive. That was up to the municipalities and the central government. That's a bit expensive. You know, when you go to Copper Belt, we had these stadiums, like in Ghana, Konkola, and so on. Those were built by the mines. They were not built by the government. When you look around, the only stadium by that time which was built by the government is Independence Stadium. And that was meant for independence celebration in 1964. So I think it was a matter of economic and so on. I don't know.
No, but your generation,
yeah.
Were you exposed enough to know that this is small, we should be aiming bigger? And I ask this question because during your time at Works Rangers, you moved from this ground to that ground, this
yes.
ground. And so the conditions kept changing even in the 70s and 80s. But why didn't we aim a little bit bigger, in your view?
Yeah, the aim was there. The aim was there. I think it's the muscles which we didn't have. The aim was there. The muscles we didn't have. But the aim was there. I will tell you that is the companies who were sponsoring the team at that time, there were so many of them. And a lot of them, even in school teams, you would have competition near every weekend. They were playing, you know, zone to zone. They were playing. They were even going to Malawi. There was that competition, which Malawi national team will come here. People like Weneshambulu and others, they were, you know, they came from the international school boys from that area.
No, I asked the question about infrastructure again. You worked at the Ministry of Works and Supply.
Yeah.
And that's where the cooking pot is. And that time, land was probably not a problem.
No, it wasn't.
Why didn't we have, even Works Rangers, for instance, having assets, teams like Lusaka Dynamos, why didn't we buy land and develop things and actually own them as opposed to renting? Why did you do such things?
That time it was very difficult to get land. Even the time when this sports complex was being built, I and If Adams, we tried even to get land where there is a sports council. Before sports council, you know, that was the Indeco. It was the Indeco sports. That sports council where it's sitting now. That was sports a complex for Indeco. All the Indeco companies, that was their sports facility. But we also wanted to build one, but it was very, very difficult to get the land.
What was the problem? With all that support that you were getting from government?
Yes, the support was there, but you know, when it comes
you needed to knock on the same door that gave you the footballs and the boots to give you that land.
You know, land is something else. When you talk about land and so on, people, anyway, I think it did not come to the mind of people that time that we need to build stadiums and so on. We thought what we had, it was enough by that time. That's what I would say. Because really, as you are saying, we had resources, finances those days, we had finances. Because like even that sports complex, it was just by word of mouth from the head of the state that we have to do that. And everybody was doing it. And when all the companies, they were almost compelled to have a team from Division 6. And when they were playing, you could think that this is the national team. Because they had everything which they wanted, you know.
Tell me something. Yeah. In your time at Lusaka Dynamos, spanning over 27 years, you probably played all of your matches on rented property.
Yeah.
And you were working with a very clever businessman, Hanif Adams. Soli Pando as well.
Yeah.
explain to me how those very clever businessmen did not think that it was important or necessary
No,
to invest in physical assets.
No, we tried to get a physical asset. We tried to get a ground where we were playing. You know, we started playing at the international school here. Then we moved to go to Queensmead. We tried to get the land. It was very, very difficult. It was actually like as if it was his wish that we get a land, we built our own facility for the team. But we couldn't get it.
What frustrated him the most?
How to get the land? That was what was frustrating.
He was connected to people like you who were civil servants.
No. By that time, I tell you that I was just a clerical officer. That time I was just a clerical officer, and I was just in accounts clerk, and so on. So I didn't have that much muscles to push to that end that we were able to get the land and so on. We had limited muscle to push. You know.
Tell me something. When the government sponsorship went away and you now needed to look for money yourself to buy the boots, provide everything, and play the football, most importantly, how easy or difficult was that?
It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult now. You know what happened? Everybody's crying for results. You are saying, no, we need to qualify this and that and that and that. But the issue that is, you are looking at the national team. You are not looking at the players where they are coming from. Where are we getting the players from? It's just like watering a ripe mango. You are leaving to water the seedling of the mango tree. It's better that you water the mango tree. What I'm saying now is that if you don't have equipment, even in our amateur ranks now, even our division 3, 2, 1, they will tell you that they are lacking in football equipment. If people are training with one ball every day, one football every day, the coach cannot get the best out of that team. When they are playing, when they substitute somebody, they have to take a boot and give somebody who is going in. It's not healthy. This is where we are now. It's very difficult because of the finances. It's very difficult to come. Other result, even the talent is very difficult. The people are able to put on a boot. There are people who have fathers like you. What about people from other areas? People you know that they can't afford. But they have the talent. Does it mean only those people who can afford have talent? No. Even the people without money and so on have the talent. But how do they expose themselves? We have very narrow, limited place where these chaps could come and expose themselves. They can go into academies and so on. How many academies do we have? They can't take everybody.
Big teams, after the 90s, actually folded. They just closed shop. And little Lusaka Dynamos survived. What was your secret?
Even now, if one of these big teams now, today, the sponsor says, tomorrow, I'm cutting sponsorship, they won't play on Saturday. That's what I'm telling you. Even these big teams we have now, if today, the general manager or managing director announces that sponsorship today, no more, you're on your own, Saturday they won't play.
What did Joe Kabika do to actually ensure that Lusaka Dynamos keeps playing, keeps competing? It's had bigger teams affording. Zamshu, gone. Many teams gone. What was your secret? And did you interact with the big-time football administrators at these big teams? Why did they fail in your view?
I'll tell you this. There was one year when we had a seminar. We had somebody from Uganda who came to conduct that seminar for all super division teams. One of the subjects he brought is how we are managing our own teams. You know, some people from well-to-do, well-sponsored team, they say money is all what we need. If you have money, we are able to do everything in football. But me, I raised my hand. I said, it's not only money. Some of us, we start with a zero, but we are able to compete with somebody who have 2 million in the bank. We compete and beat them. Why? Because one thing that is you should know that is, first of all, you must have love for football. You must have passion. The little money you get, you utilize it football.
You make it sound like those big people, first of all, very educated, very qualified, and we praise them that these are the people that make football possible back in the day, and then all of a sudden government closes the tap and it's off. Do you think they're actually very intelligent people from where you stand?
They depend on checks which they get every weekend. We are going to Lusaka, and how much is it in Pamo's hotel or whatever? They give them the check. That's how they depend on.
They're not creative people.
No,
they were not.
No, they were not creative. Nobody was thinking that tomorrow this river will dry. As a result, when the river dries, you have nowhere to get your water.
They were sport brats.
Yes, because every time you know that you get what you get. Now, when you talk about Anif and the Lusaka Dynamos, what you spend, first of all, find what you are going to spend. If you are a general secretary for Lusaka Dynamos, there is a meeting in Kitwe. Find the money to go to that meeting. But our friends, they will just write a requisition. I'm going to Kitwe on the club ticket and so on. Can I have so much?
How did you find the money?
We find the money. We know.
The one you spent, how did you source it?
Most of the time, it was straight from the business of Anif. And the other time, when we saw that actually we need to do the business, we went the business of selling players, loaning players and so on. We could go to the teams, the bigger teams, like maybe Zanaco. We say, you are playing into Continental, and we think HH is able to help you. They'll say, HH, he said, yes, we can give you. Because what we wanted is to get rid of HH, because by that time, HH was ripe. It's a national team material, and we may not be able to get him. So as a result, he goes to Zanaco. Zanaco, we negotiate. What is the loaning fee? So much. We start our league. And we tell her our growth according to what we have. If we are able to send 3 players for that year, or 4 players, we tell our expenditure according to what we have.
What conversations did you have with these big buanas of these big football teams? When their teams started folding, did their love for football die together with the sponsorship?
I don't know, because what happened that when you have passion for football.
No, I'm saying from where you stand.
Yeah,
you had a lot of colleagues.
Yes, I had a lot of colleagues. Some of them, when the team folds, that's the end, and you will never come back again, and you won't see. Now, sometimes it's very difficult. Some of us, football became part of me.
So, what kept them in football was the milk and honey and the gold and silver that football promised?
No, I won't come to that, because some of them, they are people who contributed a lot to football.
Then what would you say? Because if they disappeared once the milk and honey wasn't there, then what do you call such people? Those that left anyway.
Yeah, there are very few. Some of them, they're still running their clubs. Some of them, they're still running the association and so on. There are people who think that they are wasting their time. There are some people who have just gone into other professionals that cannot allow them to take sports as well. Because some of these people, they took that sports because they were working for the same company. And same company gives you a privilege that you must be the chairman, you must be the secretary. Now, if that company has stopped sponsoring, it means even your time is limited to have the time to go and attend for football matters. So as a result, most of them, they may face away from the football issues.
I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
there's this idea of I love the game, I live, drink, think, talk, and dream football. There are probably some pretenders who lie with their teeth, through their teeth, that they really love the game.
Yeah.
Has Zambian football managed to get some of those people, and these people have come to manage our game on our behalf?
I'll tell you that is, yes, we have people who are pretenders. We have people who have passion for football. I'll tell you that is, there are people who think that when you come to football, you may get something out of football. But let me tell you, when you come to football now, at a club level, you'll be spending your own money. There's no money at that club, especially from Division 3 up to Division 1, even in Super Division. If now, we are starting the new season right away now. If you ask you how many players have gone overseas from our league, you may find that it's none. You see, it means...
Is that normal?
No, it's normal. It means sometimes it is very difficult to sell the players outside, and it's very difficult to get money. So what it means that is, that's why people that are depending on the sponsorship. When the sponsorship is dried up, then you have a very, very big problem. You see. So anyway, there are other people here who love football. That whatever happens, I'll tell you this, in a situation like in myself, let me give the example of myself. I don't want to talk about others. Myself, from Works Rangers, I went to Lusaka Dynamos. Lusaka Dynamos, I became even an employee. I became an executive member of FAS. After executive member of FAS, I became an employee. From there, what happened that is, if you go and check the minutes of the Football Association of Zambia, the annual general minutes, you may find that 40 years backwards, I'll be attending the annual general meeting every year. At no time did I break that this year I've not been to annual general meeting. Even this year when I had a problem, I had a challenge with my legs, I was there because of the love of football which I had. Even the time when I left Football Association of Zambia, when I left at the door, somebody was waiting for me outside. Please, can you come and help me? I've formed a team, but I need somebody who can administer the team. Straight from Football Association, straight to another team. Right now, I'm the General Secretary of FC Muza. So why am I doing that? It's the passion we have for football. Because most of this space where I've gone through, there was no money involved, apart from when I was working at FAS. Where I came from, there was no money. It's the passion which I have.
So, if I wanted to get to football and get some benefits of football, what would I find? What would be the milk and honey?
Don't join. There's no milk and honey. You come out
I've
early.
seen people, big houses, big cars, and you are telling me that there's no milk and honey.
No, coming from where? From football? You know, there are two things here. If you are talking about maybe executive member of FAS, it's something else. If you are talking about club football, it's something else. Club football, there's no money. You have to spend. Because the time you are going to the ground this afternoon, you are watching your training. Your boys are training. After training, one of the boys will come. Boss, my father or my mother is in hospital. I need finances to help my mother. He goes, somebody will come. Boss, I need to buy a bag of meal. So people, they just go there and watch football being played. But why it comes from Monday to Saturday, there are so many things which administrators and footballers have done before the game is being played.
So you tell me something. Football as a business. Have you ever seen it?
It is a business. You know, let me tell you one thing. Football is a business if you are able to sell your players. you groom good players, maybe within, you sell about 3-4 players, they can give you a bit of money. But that money cannot sustain you for the whole year. Because in our market, local market, it's very little that you can get from the local market. But the bigger market, the bigger chunk, if you can get a bigger chunk, unless you send a player in Europe, then you can get something. So what you do that you have to groom players who can give you money, the players who can do everything, who are equal to the task that you are able to export them to Europe. But within here, they will give you a 20,000, a 10,000, a 50,000. But look at what the expenses, look at the players which you have. It can't match.
Let me take you to the year 1993. You link up with Patrick Kangwa. Tell me about your association with him.
It wasn't in 1993, Kangwa, we linked up with the Kangwa when Lusaka Dynamos was formed. He's a co-founder of Lusaka Dynamos. He has been the chairman of Lusaka Dynamos. Kangwa became a member of Lusaka Dynamos when he was still at school at Yonza. We had, when you hear elite, that word elite, it came from University of Zambia. We had more than 8 players from University of Zambia who came along with the Kangwa. So that's when we linked up with the Kangwa. In 1993, Kangwa was already an executive member of us. When we had that incident of Gabon, he was one of the, actually he was the executive member who was assigned to go and bring the bodies from Gabon. He's the one who went there with the minister. By that time, we had the Patel as the Minister of Youth and Sports, the people who went there. So Kangwa was already an executive member of FAS by that time. At the same time, he was still our chairman at Lusaka Dynamos.
How did you work with the late Michael Mape?
Yes, you know, Michael Mape, we had a short stint with Michael Mape. You remember that after the elections, it didn't take time. That's when we had that disaster. Michael Mape was one of the people who were, I say, very good administrators and so on. May he so rest in peace, because if we had maybe, had he finished his term of office, maybe something would have come out of that. Actually, we did not see anything bad of the man. To me, he was a very good administrator. It's only that, you know, as it is, we couldn't help it. He went early than expected.
I asked that question because around that period, we needed to sit up a bit. It was getting tighter. Government was not sponsoring that much. When you looked at the national teams, what did you see?
That time, you know what happened, that is, the government that time, they had a hand on the national team. The time when we had a problem with the national team, the time when we had Mr. Mulonga and ourselves, when we were into FAS, that's when we had a problem. All along, we didn't have a problem with the national team. You remember that even in Gabon disaster, it was the goodwill of the government who gave us the plane to pay the players to go to Senegal. Yeah, because if the government was not willing to do that, I don't think that we could have undertaken that trip.
So you offered yourself, well, a couple of years later, when Zambian football was in limbo about whether to continue or not, 1997 you offered yourself for election at first.
Yes. 1997, my friend Mr. George Kasengele, he came to me to say, no, Joe, we need to stand and see how far we can go. By that time, Joe Kasengele, he was an interim committee of Simata as the president, Chiti as the vice, and so on. So those were part of the interim committee by that time. So I agreed to run, to give a trial to run. By that time, it was very good. We didn't have money, but people were able to vote.
So it was very good for you, yet very difficult for one Simata who was removed from office or left office, not in a very colorful way.
Anyway, what happened between him and the government, we may not preview what happened. It's himself and the government who knows what happened.
But I'm sure you heard, you followed.
Yeah, I followed. I cannot speak what I actually don't know. I may know, but by way of being taught. But you know.
But what were you taught? That's what I want to know.
No. What happened that is Sumatra has got at his own problem with the government and so on. But when it came to elections for that year, myself, I offered myself to stand. There was Mr. Kasengele, there was Mr. Simon Piri, there was Kono Mpashi, who was also vying for the presidency. There was Teddy Mulonga, there was Andrea, and so on. At the end of the day, we put through. There was the President Mulonga won. Then the Vice President was Simon Piri, who was the chairman of Asset of Saka. Then the Treasurer was Mr. Andrea Mtini, and we had 6 committee members.
Tell me about that campaign. You've told me about who won, yes. But let's pull back.
No, the campaign was very, very tough.
What did you need to do?
You know what happened? That those days it was very easy to campaign. It's not like this year, these years that you need to go countrywide and canvass for votes. People, we knew each other. We knew who can do something. We knew who can do something for football. Because by that time, all of us were coming from the clubs. And all of us, we knew each other. It was easy. And when you say, I'm standing, they just look at you. Are you better than Zite? Is Zite better than you? Then if they decide, no, Mr. Kabika is not better than Zite, let's pick Zite. That's how it was done.
Did you make electoral alliances? Did you need to?
Normally, when these things are happening, there's always alliance and so on. You know, there was alliance. There was 2 strong groups. There was a group for Mr. Mulonga, which was Mulonga himself. There was Andrea Mtine. There was Mada Banda. There was this young man who wanted to stand as the president. I just forgot his name. So there was another group. Us, to our side, it was Kono Mpashi.
Who was standing for the presidency?
Kono Mpashi.
Yes.
Yes.
He was your preferred choice?
Yes. Then there was Simon Piri, who was standing as the vice president. Then there was treasurer was Sam Piri. Sam Piri, the same Sam Piri, you know. Then committee members were so many, including Jeff Chipiringo and others. There were so many who also stood that time. So what happened that is at the end of the day, the other side, we were 3 of us who went through. The other side, there were 6 of them who went through.
That must have been scary.
Why? It was okay.
2 camps?
Yes.
Going to do work together?
Yes.
Sounds like a special joke.
No, it's not a joke, Zite. You know what happened? That's how democracy works. Don't force people to vote people who they don't want. Because you belong to, because Zite is your friend, and so on, and you have to vote for him. No. You vote on merit. You know. What happened? They pick the people who they think that these people they are able to work. Whether the president likes them or not. Whether we didn't like Mr. Mulonga by that time or not. He was our president.
So what was your reaction? Election result, Teddy Mulonga, President Kono Mpashi has lost. Your preferred choice. What was your first conversation with Kono Mpashi and your first meeting with Teddy Mulonga?
Let me tell you, it was very difficult. What happened that is the same day. Because Mulonga, I think he knew that he was going to win. He had already prepared for a party at the same venue in Kabwe, Masie Monteo there. Huh? There was a party going on after elections. Me, Kasengele, and Simon. What do we do? Do we go into that party or not? So we're standing outside. Kono came and he asked one question. Guys, there's something that you have done. How come that me have lost and you have won?
What was your answer to him?
We were very annoyed. Because what we said, Kono, can you see that our friends they are dancing there? we are unable to join them because of you. Because if it was you, we could have been the one dancing there. But now, we are unable to go there and dance. And the man said, no, I said, look at it. Now, here we are standing. People are dancing, they are drinking there. We are unable to join them. So we stayed there, and we said, okay, it has happened, it has happened. So we went there, we joined, and we had Fanta and so on. We left. You said the first meeting we had with Mr. Mlonga, it was a tough one, because what happened now, there were 2 camps. So we have to make sure to mend the camp so that it becomes one camp. But we had a tough going, because even us, we couldn't believe that Mr. Mlonga can be our president at that time.
Let me ask you this. So, the concept of you scratch my back, I scratch yours could have cost Kene Mpashi that election?
Not necessarily. What I'm saying that is, when I say that is finances, it means that is, most of us in our camp, we did not travel to the provinces, to other places, and commit ourselves and maybe canvass for votes. That's what could have killed the Kene Mpashi.
And I ask you the same question the Keneo asked you that day after the election. How did you win? You and George Kasenge. And he lost. Because you're saying the predicament was the same.
Yeah, you know what happened, that is, when you are talking about the committee members, you have to get 6 committee members. The president is 1. So you are voting for 1 president. So as I'm saying that is, here is Zite who have gone round the country, and the Kabika who want also president who have just seated. And the day when you are voting, your face will be more familiar, and the voting on you, it will be easier than on me. You see that?
How did you become more familiar?
Okay,
Kasengere, for you to win.
Kasengere was the secretary of Profound Warriors by that time. I was the secretary of Lusaka Dynamos. I told you that we interacted with a lot of clubs. Apart from traveling, we had a lot of interaction. And for me, what helped me, that is, I was a registrar at Lusaka Urban. I was a registrar at Midlands. Most of the teams which were in Midlands, they were coming from that background. And they knew what I was capable of doing. And they knew what Kasengere was capable of doing.
But aren't you guilty of failing to campaign properly for your friend and brother, Kene Mpashi? Because they knew you, they trusted you. That's why they voted for you.
Yes.
But the same people opted not to trust you and opted to vote for Teddy Mlonga.
Campaign is something different. Campaign. Even if you are in the same, I will campaign for you. In the same group, I will campaign for you. But what happened, that is, they will pick among 2 of us. Even 2 of us will start campaigning. Okay, I'll campaign for you. No, Zite, what and what. They will agree. Oh, yes. But between Zite and somebody else, they will choose. And you can't force them. And we cannot say, you did not campaign. We did. Because what happened, that is, we thought if Kene Mpashi had come in, it was going to make our job easier. But it didn't happen. It was opposite. You see? That's the best, the democrats at football. That time, that was the best. People could vote the people they want to vote.
So Teddy Mlonga wins as president, and he was also doubling as chairperson of the Zambia National Tender Board. What was your first meeting?
Managing director.
Managing director.
Yeah. The first meeting which we had a meeting where he had put up some names to be recruited as general secretary. So we had 2 camps. We thought, because the names which were being proposed by that time, we saw those people, that people were campaigning for him. So we thought, no, we can't agree in this situation. So the meeting was hot.
But why? Were you being childish?
No, it wasn't childish. It wasn't childish.
What was
because
it?
What we're thinking, that is, if you are trading the positions, Zite campaign for me, I'll give you a position. then there's something wrong. It's better you get the position which you qualify on. The qualification cannot be because you have a campaign for him. That's not the right qualification. So we were looking at it that this person qualified, really. Apart from that qualification of campaigning. If he doesn't, then we are not going to agree.
So who did King Teddy propose to be General Secretary?
By that time there was what was the name now? Mr. Anyway, he came to be the General Secretary at the end of the day, because what happened that is we gave in, because we are only 3 against 6. We gave in, and that person became the General Secretary of Football Association of Zambia. But we were speaking our mind out. The beauty about Teddy at the end of the day, he was giving us time to speak. When we say no, it's no. And we had time.
But you lost all the votes.
Yeah, we lost. Even if we lost, at the end of the day, they also now, that refusal, it was sending a signal that we are not happy. That as a result, the person should pull up his socks. Whatever he does is under, we are seeing what he's doing. And he has to do his level best. Otherwise, he will go faster. So that made him actually to do a very, very good job.
So during your time you're serving in the executive committee, how was your relationship with Nkene Mpashi? Did you make up after he felt betrayed that you did not put up a good campaign?
Yes. You see, let me tell you this about Nkene Mpashi. Nkene Mpashi and the other people, like Chiti, it's late, may his soul rest in peace, and others. Those are the people who groomed us. Nkene Mpashi, when he was a General Secretary of the Football Association of Zambia, when you enter his office, you say, Kaneo, I'm protesting. My team yesterday lost because of ABC. First of all, what he's going to do, he will give you the disciplinary code and the constitution. You say, check what provision you are going to use. Then if you are through, you tell me you can go and protest. So what he was doing, that he was teaching us to have a look at the constitution, disciplinary code, and all other bylaws pertaining to football. So whatever you do, first of all, you have to check what I'm doing. Is it in the interest of football? If you think yourself, on your own, you think it's the interest of football, go into the constitution. Does it tally with what the constitution says? Yes, you go ahead. If it's no, don't. So that's the man who taught me, especially to me, that I should look to the constitution and other bylaws for the association. And from that time, whenever I'm attending a meeting, I have those papers with me. I have to get the FIFA constitution, I have to get CAF constitution, maybe whatever, in order for me to arrive at a decision which I am about to make.
So tell me something.
Yeah.
You later got to work very well with Teddy Mlonga.
Yeah.
Isn't the reason that a year later, your executive committee was under fire because it was accused of financial impropriety at what was dubbed as the Bobogate of 1998?
Yeah, sometimes...
Is that the day you started getting along?
No. We started getting along long time. We became friends with Teddy Mlonga. Mr. Kasengere, myself, Simon Piri, and Teddy Mlonga were based in Osaka, where a lot of things are happening. Some of our friends were based on Copper Belt. It was going to be very, very difficult for them to be traveling to go and meet some of these national duties or assignments. So some of us were very near. As a result, we made the job of Mr. Mlonga a bit easier. If there's any assignment, we'll look around who is able to get it at hand immediately. It's neither George Kasengere or myself. So we came to work. We know that is part of football politics. We put that aside and we became very, very good friends. And of course, we did a very good job by that time. When you talk about the Bobo Dialaso issue, I know that a lot of people, they didn't know what could have happened, whatever. But the story should be told so that people should know. Even now, what happened that is, when the team travels out, the ministry, the government gives the money to the ministry, from Ministry of Finance to the ministry. The accountant from the ministry carries the money. It's not the Football Association of Zambia who carries the money. The accountant from Football Association of Zambia, some of them they have not even traveled. The people who travel are people from the ministry. Even in that situation, when they went to that area, that tournament, it was the ministry people who had the money. Issue where people were very annoyed, that is, we were kicked earlier and we came back earlier than expected. But even if we came back as people were thinking, it wasn't us who carried the money. Whether there was some payment and money
Did you personally travel to Burkina
No, I
Faso?
didn't. I didn't. And change came out. We were not the one who were carrying the money. So as a result, it was very, very difficult. That's what made Mr. Mulonga that time more popular. Because we were not the one. But what was going out to the public is that FAS, they never surrendered change. The change was misused. They got all the money for the whole duration of the tournament, which they never returned. But we never did that. The money wasn't with us.
But as an accountant, I'm sure it's very easy to know whether Imprest was retired or not. Should be very simple, I mean.
That was not
why was the country subjected to all that for that long?
I really don't know. Let me explain to this. You know, what happened that is when the government came heavily on us, we know the anger by that time, the anger was, the performance of the team was very bad that time. So everybody in the country was not happy with us. But it was now people, they diverted, there was a deviation from that to the misuse of the money, which we never held. So why did Mr. Mulonga become very popular? That is, we said, if we misuse the money, or any of us misuse the money, arrest and let him go to prison, so that the other person who are going to take over from us, they should not do the same.
What made you that brave?
We were brave because we knew that we did not steal.
It was the long arm of the law coming heavy on you.
Yeah. Let me tell you this. When people came back from that area, there was accountants who were sent, auditors who were sent to audit page by page what the expenditure from that area. There were nowhere where an executive member was mentioned. The person who was mentioned was Ugreda by that time. Ugreda, what happened, that is, he paid a physio. We had hired a physio from America who came. So Ugreda paid that physio, and that name also appeared on the accountant from the ministry that he was paid. So that's
double payment.
Double payment. Now Ugreda said, it's me who paid from the money from FAS. So this guy said, no, it's me who paid. So at the end of the day, when that man was contacted, he was brought in to come and verify who among the two who paid. He mentioned that the person who paid me was Ugreda. So the issue was with the accountant. You see, that's how Ugreda was let.
So the accountants were trying to frame you.
Of course, you know, at the end of the day, we don't want to be mentioning names and so on. These things, they were in the public domain. People, they went to court. Some of them, they went to prison. You see, there was no time did one of us went there. That's how FIFA was also very strong backing us, because FIFA was also saying, if they are thieves, why do you want to just dissolve them? Don't dissolve them, arrest them. So that all other associations, they should learn a lesson that playing with the public money is not easy as everybody think. Arrest them, take them. I'll give you a very good story. Teddy Mlonga, he was a good friend of mine. We went to Livingstone on his official duty, and he carried me that time. That time, all the radios which we had that time, every day, it was fuzz, thieves, they're about to be arrested, about what and what. So when we went to Livingstone, we went to lodge somewhere else. Me, I went to lodge somewhere else. Early in the morning, those days in Livingstone, you could have a paper, maybe around 12 hours or 13 hours every day. It's not here where you could get the paper in the morning, those days. So what happened that is, Mr. Mlonga received a message from the wife. Boss, there is Daily Mail heading today saying that 6 more executive members of ours, they're about to be arrested. They'll be arrested. So Mlonga said, can you send that Daily Mail, cut it, make a photocopy, and send it to me. So the madam did that. So he called me, Joe, come. Look at this paper. By that time, Ugreda was already going, facing the law, and Mr. Mtini was also implicated in one of the issue, which was cleared, which the coach went with the acquittals of the players. But because Andrea Mtini was the one who was the delegation leader when we went to Tanzania en route to go to Bobo Dioulasso. So what happened that is, you say, out of 9, if 2 of them, they are already facing the law, out of 9, it means there are 7. So out of 7, 6. So I said, Mlonga, between 2 of us, if there will be anybody who is going to be free, there will be only 1 of us. Then with our friend 6 there. He said, yes, that's what it is. So he gave me his vehicle, Pajero. Joe, drive. I said, where are we going? He said, we are going to police. Where? Police. Which police? Central Police. Livingstone. We went on the vehicle. I drove from that place to Central Police in Gear 1 because I didn't want to arrive early, to be arrested early. I said, this freedom, even if it's 20 minutes, it's okay. So
you actually thought you were going to be locked up?
I knew that when the government, when we were fighting with the government, anything can happen. That can, that's what I thought. But because I know that I did not even go to that area, I did not even touch the money. I wasn't part of the delegation who went there. So how come? So we went there. We found Mateo.
Ephraim Mateo
was in charge of the Southern Province. So they greeted, because they come from Northwestern Province with Mr. Teddy Mlonga. They greeted in the Kaonde, what and what. So Teddy brought up the issue. Mr. Mateo, this man is Mr. Joe Kabika. He's a member of the Football Association of Zambia. And you know me, I'm the president. Look at this paper, today's Daily Mail, although you have not yet received. This is what is happening. Now we are here in Livingstone. Maybe the police officers may go to our homes. They may find that we are not there. They may think we have run away. So please, if it's an arrest, do it. We have come to report ourselves. Now, to me, I was saying, this man, I think, is a fool. Why would we do that? So I was just thinking myself that I'm there now in a Land Cruiser, police Land Cruiser, being taken to Lusaka, what and what. Now this man said, oh, you wait. We waited in the reception, and he took us to his office. He called force headquarters. By that time, I remember the officer was dealing with that case. It was Mr. Nzo. And like now, Mr. Nzo was in the office. That was Saturday. So Mateo asked him, here I have the president of FAS and 1 committee member. Today in the paper, it's reported that 6 members of Football Association of Zambia, they face arrest. These people, they have come to
Report
surrender themselves. So the man said, oh, you wait, let me check. So to hear, he's turning the pages of papers. Bah, bah. Said, oh yes, sir, I'll find the page. These are the people which I want to arrest. But some of them, due to their position, I have to get permission from the authority.
So you were one of the...
No, listen.
You're on the list?
No, listen. So he mentioned the name, which I don't want to mention here. He mentioned the name. Not even one member of FAS, neither an employee of FAS was mentioned. Now Teddy Mulonga came to me, he says, can you see? If we did not come here, any police officers you would have met on the way would have run away. You know that you did not steal a penny. Why do you fear? I know, I got courage. Really. I know that I did not get anything. Why should I fear this?
King Teddy is a brave man.
Very, very brave man. Let me tell you, that man is a very, very brave man. And to me, he's also part of the person who taught me administration. Very, very brave man, because we faced the government as it is. Lucky enough, the results from the national teams were very good, without money, but it was very good.
So you won COSAFA 97, you won COSAFA 98.
Yes.
And took the under-22 the World Cup in 99.
Yes.
That saved you.
No, it didn't save us, because we were already in problems. How would you say it saved us?
But if you are saying that the principal reason why government was coming down heavy on you was because people were upset with the performance of the national team, so COSAFA wasn't a big deal.
At that tournament, you know, the people, you know, qualification to Africa Cup of Nations and COSAFA and so on, by that time people were thinking that is, when we look around, Botswana, South Africa and so on, South Africa is us who taught them football, if you don't know. Most of the coaches and players, that time when it was the upper side, a lot of coaches and players, they went there without clearance. Geoffrey Piri, when he became a registrar of FAS at one time, the one who went there to go and clear the players in South Africa. So when we looked around, there was no other country which we thought we could match with us. So when we talk about COSAFA, we talk about qualification. For us,
it was a small issue.
It was a small issue.
Even in the hearts of supporters of Zambian football, COSAFA was small.
It was a small issue. What is it? Who's supposed to beat us?
Even going to the World Cup for the first time under 20 was a small issue.
Yes, because what happened that when we looked around, people were giving us a tough time by that time. It was Congo DR. There are people were giving us a tough time. The other Congo, we beat them 3-1 at their ground, and we qualified with the 2 games in hand.
Let me ask you this. Regards that Africa Cup in 1998, what was your personal position about the armband moving from Elijah Litana from Karushawana to Elijah Litana? And going back?
Personal, that was not supposed to be done. But the issue of the coach by that time, he was saying he had not seen Karushawana play. That's what the coach was saying. So and the Karushawana by that time, he flew from where he was direct to the tournament. So the coach, that did not go well with the coach, because he wanted first of all to see what kind of players he has. But everybody told him that this player is a good player, whether you like it or not.
It didn't make sense to you?
Yeah, to him it didn't make sense, because he didn't
I'm saying the story that Bukadziz was explaining, that he hadn't seen Kalusha play, and that was the reason he couldn't be his captain.
Yeah. So he thought, no, he can't be. Me, I don't know. You are just telling me. Me, I don't know him. That's the situation where
So who was Bukadziz listening to the most when he came to Zambia, in your view? Who was his greatest influence? Or who were the people who could convince him about certain positions?
Like what?
Like the decision he took?
No, that's a technical decision. That it cannot be saying he was listening too much to this one and this one. That cannot be an executive decision. Because what happened that even now, when people are in Swatini, whatever. What happened in the camp? It cannot be spread to Mr. Kamanga and other people. No. It's entirely what is happening in the camp. Here is the coach who thinks that Zite can't be a captain. This one can be a captain. So it's between the coach and the players.
So how you wish that if Africa Cup 1998 went on very well, we would have never have heard of Bobo Dialaso from where you stand?
Yes.
So I ask you this question. So it seems that governments over the years get very interested in this thing called football.
Yeah.
They have dissolved leagues before.
Yeah.
They have dissolved football bodies before.
Yes.
But most importantly, they have dissolved executives.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Zite, do you know who stopped that?
Tell me.
Stadium Longa executive.
From
Stadium Longa executive, let me ask you one question. Which executive was dissolved by the government?